How's everyone doing this morning? Show of hands, good? All right, good to see all of you. Thanks for being here. So lots of familiar faces in the crowd, lots of new faces in the crowd. A little bit about us, if you don't know, Midwest Manufacturing Leaders. We started 13 years ago at Queenie Park with a presentation by Joe Reagan on manufacturing in the St. Louis industry. And I guess the rest is history. We just crossed over 10,000 people in our MML online LinkedIn group. The information is on your table in front of you on one of the cards. If you're not part of the MML group, there's a lot of really good conversation going on out there. A lot of new trends, a lot of things that people are working on, everything along those lines. Really, we serve two purposes. We want to get folks together like you for networking and peer review, and we want to do education, which is what Keith's going to help us with today. So thanks for being here. I would like to thank our sponsors. This is one of our smaller events, so this is one of the private, invitation-only, manufacturing, industrial, distribution, and construction-only events. That's why there's a smaller group here today. This gives you all an opportunity to meet with your peers without a lot of service providers in the room. But in November, we'll be back to our all-member event where we have the whole ecosystem involved. It'll be probably about an 80-person event, and Doug up here, Doug Eisenhart from Cambridge Air, is going to be speaking at the November event. So we look forward to that, Doug. So great. All right, so back to our sponsors. So if you could raise your hand when I call your name. Mike from La Pata Flegels over here on the side. Let's see, Parkside, Brittany. Brittany's up here in the front. Grant from Atomic is right next to her. Jason is running the technology and the live stream for SWIP Systems. Larry Weiss probably checked you in the back with the iPad. Tom from Black Twig said he couldn't be there this morning. Jamie from CMA is up here in the front. Paul from Polsinelli is in the back in the gray coat, and then Matt from the Sage Group is here in the middle. So if we could have a round of applause for our sponsors, please. They are responsible for renting the lodge, the coffee, the eggs, the sausage, and everything. So the chairs you're seating in, so we really appreciate them. All right, on to the presentation. So Keith Suellentrop is the president of LMC Industries. Prior to becoming president, Keith was the CFO for the organization for 29 years. Keith is a true financial executive with broad experience in all aspects of accounting, auditing, financial management, and human resources. Keith also has direct experience with manufacturing of metal stampings, injection moldings, and tool and die. Please help me welcome Keith.
Good morning, everybody. A pleasure to be here. Explain to you some of the things that we're doing at LMC to, combat higher costs, lower revenue, and make general improvements. So, LMC, we don't just make parts, we re-engineer possibilities. We're an industry leader in engineered plastics and metal part design. We're celebrating our 80th year in business as a family business. I'm third generation and one of the owners. We have two facilities in Missouri, both of them in Arnold, located right next to each other. We serve we're a tier 2 automotive supplier. We make agricultural components, consumer, and other industrial products. So we need to innovate, we need to think differently, and we need to change in order to remain competitive. So, Industry 4.0, starting small, then scaling Midwest manufacturer. This is our story of how we came to change what we're doing. So we do a lot of benchmarking for the Precision Metal Forming Association and the Mid-America Association of Plastic Processors. So we have taken all of their benchmarking data and looked at it. And so in 2024, we were all wondering, is there going to be a recession? Our interest rate's going to go down. Wages keep going up at a lesser rate. We had the election to contend with. How are we going to improve efficiencies? The labor issues, lack of it. And then what are the consumers doing? So we started looking at all these factors. So here's the interesting part. profitability, as throughput or value add per employee continued to rise, profitability still continued to fall, primarily because costs were rising faster than we could catch up with revenue. LMC's story was exactly the same. Revenue kept declining and throughput kept going up. We couldn't catch up fast enough to keep up with the profit picture. Well, then we enter 2025. So we have new tax policies. We have the USMCA. Will that be renegotiated? You still have China. Trade and tariff threats. We do metal stamping, so we use a lot of steel. Consumer demand. Very, very choppy. And then all the additional global pressures that we had out there. So we're looking at all of these things that are basically working against us and realize we had to change. So we keep hearing about this Industry 4.0, and I'm like, what the heck is Industry 4.0? Really didn't know a lot about it. A lot of these slides are from the benchmarking data that we've received by participating. So what is Industry 4.0? It's the fourth industrial revolution. Describes the ongoing trend of using advanced digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and Internet of Things to create smart, connected, and autonomous factory and industrial processes. This revolution aims to achieve highly efficient and flexible manufacturing by enabling machines to self-monitor, diagnose, optimize operations through real-time data analysis. And that's what we needed. We were lacking real-time data analysis. So, what was the business case for wading into this data analysis, AI, and all of those things that are new to certainly me and probably a lot of us? Well, you start looking at the statistics, you're 23 times more likely to get new customers, 18 times more likely to remain profitable. Gross margins are 18% higher, $40,000 more per employee, and 50% higher net income on revenue. We haven't achieved all of this, but we've made significant strides since we started this journey late in 2024. And it just doesn't happen overnight. It is a journey, not throw it in and it's there. So the impact on Industry 4.0. So equipment monitoring, we have a lot of older equipment in our facility, like many manufacturers do. And you just don't have a lot of real-time information that's actionable. So we were looking for something to give us that immediate impact. And as we kept looking at the data, we figured this is probably a good place to start. And this will be a little short video that we put together for the InTouch system that we are currently using to monitor and act upon all the data that we're receiving off the metal stamping presses and injection molding machines.
Hello, this is Suellentrop with LMC Industries, President and CEO. We do contract manufacturing for injection molding parts and metal stamping components. We face a series of challenges. LMC has some older equipment, and we face challenges with figuring out how to monitor them real time and provide more information to those on the factory floor. We needed real-time information to improve productivity, improve and understand where our downtime was, how much downtime did we have. And this is what led us to look at various solutions, and InTouch was a very cost-effective, easy to implement solution.
Hello, my name is Mark Ross. I'm the Director of Manufacturing at LMC. The old system we had really didn't have a good system. It was very frustrating to work with Excel spreadsheets. I get data from the factory floor, sometimes 2 days later. The data that we had was often estimated, really didn't have any information to work with. And we were trying to meet metrics and KPIs, really just had a not a good combination of work, but the data is so important, it needs to be accurate and timely, and we weren't meeting that requirement. So the touch brought the system in, we started getting live data, and saw how we're going to do it.
We've been able to see a 10 to 15% overall improvement in our OEE. It really did highlight our downtime challenges, and we have been able to address those simply by highlighting the challenges from previous days production with those that are managing the factory floor. Value added hours per employee went up over 10% since we started monitoring and using the InTouch system, and we look for that to continue to improve another 5 or 10% over the next 6 to 12 months. So overall, machine hours saved for the organization are approximately 5,000 machine hours per quarter. That allows our sales to improve an additional 20,000 hours to sell in addition to the regular book of business. That was approximately a 6% overall savings and efficiency. And this also leads us to improve our working capital.
Another thing I like about the InTouch software, just all the different avenues I can look at and find information. So we've got shortcuts on our desktop, we've got monitors on the floor, we've got tablets we can use to hand people on the floor. So I'll process text and quality text and have it right at their hands, and then record the downtime and all the entries very quickly and easily. I also have app on the phone I can get to very quickly, and I can look at the night and see how things are running throughout the course of the night. So there's a lot of different options for availability and accessibility to the software information.
So that's the short version of the video for the promo. So what was our goal was to speed up the data collection to help make real-time decisions to improve product profitability in terms of run rate, downtime, setup, and value-added opportunities. Initially, we connected 15 injection molding machines and 5 stamping presses, SWIP systems. We'll plug for them. They're building the interface between the InTouch data monitoring and pushing the data into our ERP system. Thank you, guys. And we incorporate the machine performance review in our daily OBEA meetings. Our OBEA is simply Japanese term for big room or meeting room. And we have all the parties, engineering and supply chain, all in the meeting, and we review the previous day's data. Our injection molding facility, those machines, most of them will run on a standard cycle. Metal stamping is a little different animal. You have a lot more downtime because you have to change coils and things like that. So some of the highlights, so we have high visibility of the shop floor status, real-time interaction with operators, process techs, floor leadership, daily data review, which we just talked about, improved accuracy of data collection, which was really another big hole in the system when you're doing manual entry, that a lot of opportunity for error, and then provides machine status alerts via mobile apps. So yeah, you can do everything on here if you need to. Let's go back. So on the insights, so here's some of the things that we learned in metal stamping. So coil changes varied. So in metal stamping, you have to change coils of steel every 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on the type of job it is. And what we found out by using this InTouch system is each operator had a different method of changing coils and how long it would take them to change those coils. Each setup person would take longer to set up or shorter to set up jobs. In many cases, by standardizing and basically putting the best people on coil changes, we saved 15 to 30 minutes every time you had a coil change. In addition to that, we would try to schedule coil changes whenever we need to do punch changes within the metal stamping dies. The metal stamping, it's all pretty much operator dependent. We uncovered a lot of other non-value added activities. For example, we have scrap hoppers underneath all the metal stamping presses. Well, they would fill up and they would take them and then they would dump them. Instead of having, we ordered additional scrap hoppers to put them next to the press, pull the full one out, put the other one in, so we could reduce the downtime there. And when you're talking about machines that command $100 to $200 or $300 an hour, every minute's important. So we did a lot of those quick fixes, and that we saw the biggest OEE opportunity in metal stamping by simply really paying attention to all that downtime. And it's really heightened the awareness of all of the operators and the setup people and things like that in metal stamping. And they're truly interested in trying to make things better. And we go through every day, you'll see some of the screens that we go through every day that heighten everybody's awareness. So injection molding, we have approximately 50 machines. We run 3 shifts a day, 5 days a week. This information allows supervisors to address issues in a more efficient manner, quickly identifies machines that are in an alarm status, so we can send people where we need them to get things back up and running. It's easy to see when you have a hot machine that's nearing completion and is ready for a changeover. And a big item when you're talking 50, 60 machines is just the data recording piece. Doing that manually is just, it's time consuming, it's not always accurate, and with the help of SWIP again, we're pushing that data into the ERP system. So once we went through phase 1, we connected an additional 16 injection molding machines, and we're getting ready to do another 16, which would be a total of 48 machines in injection molding. We have added another 3 or 4 operations in our metal stamping operation that we can monitor and control. We also are connecting some welders and some other assembly work areas, and we've already talked a bit about uploading the data. So here's a look at some of the screens. What you'll notice is there's a ton of information on here. And what the nice part about this InTouch system is you can configure these screens to look like however you want and put whatever information you want on them. And like I said, it's great for connecting older pieces of equipment and collecting data. I'll mention this now, it's very cost effective. A box to hook up 16 machines is about $2 grand, and the annual fee per machine is about $800. So it's very cost effective. So what you'll notice, oops, let's go back. So what you'll notice is you got a ton of activities that you can do from this ribbon right here. This allows you to, this would set up multiple screens for this kind of data. Right now we have currently expanded ours to have 7 different screens so we can look at the data for each machine, each row, whether it be metal stamping, injection molding. And that's, if you noticed in the video, there were some large TVs. Those are actually on the factory floor, and they scroll for the various cells. So each machine here will have whatever data you need. It gives you a status. So red would mean there's an alarm status and somebody needs to put a downtime code in. Green means it's up and running. Blue means that it's in changeover, and it go ahead and tells you what activity's going on here. We've reconfigured our screens currently to have performance, which is our cycle time on task, and we also have our quality circle, and we also have the OEE circle for each and every machine. So at a glance, you can see what in the world's going on. We also reconfigured this bottom bar to show all the starts and stops throughout the day and throughout the shift. And you can go click on one of those starts or stops, and it'll tell you why it was down. And you can add comments to that as well. So it's a very robust system. We've given quality and supervisors tablets so that they can enter the data in real time and not wait till the end of the day and try to figure out, what happened at 12 o'clock. So it's highly configurable, and it just gives you a ton of information all on one screen. And then when you go down into these areas here, these are all reporting apps that you can pull up, and I'll show you some of that here. So this here is the shift profile for machine activity. So here we have machines here. So this shows you when there was downtime, when it was running. This one was in setup. And what that's been particularly helpful in is if you would have a quality problem, as one of my former associates could attest to, Elizabeth there, when a customer identifies a quality problem and they tell us what date it happened, we can go back to this data here and isolate when that quality issue may have happened and see if we have any notes on that. We can also then quarantine the product for that amount of time. So it's been very helpful in that as well. Like I said, you can drill down, you can just click on any of these red bars or yellow bars, and then you can get more information on that. So this would be the shift overview. So you can look at, over here would be, I believe that's scrap. Is that the scrap one? Yeah, no, that's the downtime summary over there. And this will tell you how many hours you were running. This gives you your availability, what was your performance. I wish every day was like that. Quality, performance, and then the OEE. We're really after working to improve this OEE activity. But it also assists us on this performance. So if we see something that's only running 70 or 80%, we need to start asking questions. Is the bill of material wrong? Is there something wrong with the machine? We're a job shop, so we move stuff all over the place. And we try to have home presses, but that doesn't always work. So this here, we also have, it also shows you what your schedule is depending on how many work orders you load in the system. It'll tell you when you should start the next job, when the previous job will be finished. And that works much better in our injection molding plant than it does in metal stamping because of the amount of downtime and inconsistency in the stamping area. Here again, it's color coded to tell you, so the red bar here means you're behind schedule, green bar means you're on schedule, and the blue bar means that you should start changing the press over at this particular time. So, what are the challenges that we've experienced? Number one, embracing change. We've been in business for 80 years. We have a lot of employees who've been there 20, 25, 30, 40 years. And change isn't always in their vocabulary. So getting them to carry a tablet around and things like that, it's been a challenge, but we're making progress. It's never as fast as you think it would happen. Coordinating the implementation across IT, supply chain, manufacturing, and the third-party providers. That can be a little challenging and doesn't always go as quickly as you think it will go. Getting everybody to do the same thing across all three shifts has been a little bit of a challenge, but part of the reason for going to the InTouch system is it standardizes how people do their work and how we record and report our data. And here again, everything, timing is everything. Getting everybody to do everything at the same time all the time. So what are our next steps? Like I said, we're going to continue to add equipment to this whole process. We have approximately 50, 55 injection molding machines. We're going to hook up at least 48 of them. We'll hook up most of the metal stamping equipment as well. Continue to work on refining the data and improving the accuracy. It's also helped us improve our bill of materials and our cycle and standard times. And that's really about all I have at this point. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Keith, you talked about the change management. Where did you meet the most resistance from your team, and did that surprise you?
Well, in injection molding, I mean, you got 30, 40 people on a shift, and that's bad. It's a little harder to implement it there than in metal stamping, where we only have 10 people and run one shift. Metal stamping has really embraced the whole process. Molding, it's just a much longer process to get everybody going in the same direction.
Did you see any difference at like the foreman or manager level versus the worker level?
Yeah, well, we haven't drilled it down to in plastics, the operators really haven't gotten too involved in it, but quality and supervisors and things have. Metal stamping, the operators are setup folks. They've really embraced it on how do we make things better? How do we make it more consistent? Certainly in terms of setup time and performance. So if something's supposed to be running 60 strokes a minute and we're only getting 50, we all start asking, okay, well, why is that? When you can see it on a screen, as opposed to buried on some piece of paper somewhere and in a computer system, it makes all the difference in the world. And then you get all the disciplines working together, tooling, manufacturing, engineering, to start addressing why can't we get to 100. And if we can't get to 100, that's fine, but let's change the standard so that supply chain can accurately schedule and we know what our real profitability is on the part. Anything else?
Have you made any significant changes in your maintenance or preventative maintenance?
It has helped us schedule it a little bit better. What it has done is if we know it's going to be down for a significant period of time, we put it in the system as a planned maintenance event or a maintenance event, so supply chain will know that that's not available for 48 hours. Like I said, we have a lot of older equipment, and downtime is certainly an issue, but now we'll have better data to react to whether we should try to replace a piece of equipment or not.
When did you start this journey?
The end of 24. Yes.
Keith, you mentioned that LMC was doing a lot of management through spreadsheets and a lot of manual data entry. Through implementation of this system, did you identify any opportunities to reduce indirect labor?
Well, yes, we certainly don't have any administrative folks pounding data in the system, but what's nice about this is you can download all the data and manipulate it however you want, which is invaluable. I've used a lot of this information for our quarterly board meetings to show how we've improved our OEE and our performance and our profitability. Because everybody's like, well, how do you know that that's attributable to this? And there's a lot of good actionable data that you can pull out of this. Our cost of quality or cost of poor performance, as we call it, has consistently over the last 3 or 4 quarters. Not everything's attributable to InTouch, but it's just one of the tools that you use to improve your profitability in your operation. So late last year, we rolled out, about the same time we did In Touch, we rolled out what we called Every Part Matters. And basically what that means is every part you make, you want it to go in a box. You don't want it laying on the floor. You don't want to put it in the scrap bin. And that helped us improve profitability as well, along with, like I said, along with some of these other tools. This year's initiative is Every Delivery Matters, because with the labor challenges that we have, delivery has become a bit of a challenge. Fortunately, we don't have too many tariff issues and things like that, so it's mostly labor at this point, and trying to create a better, more sustainable culture.
Has it been hard getting labor?
Well, good problem for us was our revenue was rising, but we couldn't bring enough entry-level folks in fast enough. And that entry level, you know, if you get 2 or 3 out of 10, you're lucky. So it's hard to scale that up when you need to add 10, 15, 20 people. So that's been our biggest challenge, in addition to tool makers and some of those folks. Some of the engineering folks, we haven't had too much trouble finding engineers, but more of that skilled tool and die, those are the ones we're having trouble with.
And then what about like we're seeing the challenges of people embracing the change, and like on the hunker down part, what were your challenges getting everybody to embrace that?
Well, the engineering group was a little bit slow to react on some of the things. Everything we do, you need to think about how do you do it with less people and less labor, less direct labor, because there's just not a lot of them out there. You have to, if we don't think in lights out terminology, we won't get there. If we get halfway there, I'll be happy. So that was another one of those challenges, changing the way we think. Like I said, we've been in business for a long time. Most of the engineering staff has been there 20, 30, 40 years. And just changing that mindset and looking at all the different alternatives that we have available to us. Yeah, back there.
I guess speaking about delivery, a lot of good data that you're pulling together, how does that tie back to planning, scheduling, manufacturing, execution? And I guess how integrated is that, or how cumbersome is that to kind of pull it all the way back to the start?
Well, you can pull a lot of data out of the system. Analyzing the downtime is certainly important. It'll help us schedule better if we know how long it takes to set up tools. If we know what our absenteeism rate or show up rate, whatever you want to call it, is. So we've been building a lot of that into the system. We've also been able to schedule 2 or 3 additional. You'll be able to see how many jobs you have scheduled, calculate whether you're over capacity on some pieces of equipment, and then you can move tools around to other pieces of equipment. So it has helped in that area.
Are you using a different system then for the planning and scheduling side? You're kind of looking at that data and plugging it back in to kind of the top again?
Well, we do both. So we have the ERP system, we're running Microsoft Dynamics, and then that data, when we cut our work orders and things like that, that feeds into In Touch. So we're kind of using it in both areas.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yeah.
Have you been able to share any of that data, or maybe an edited version of that data, with your suppliers to improve supply chain efficiencies?
We have not went that far yet. So we're IATF certified, so we have a lot of data and a lot of requirements with suppliers and customers and things like that. So we have a pretty robust system for reporting to suppliers, and then customers, certainly give us feedback with their scorecards.
Are you realizing the return that you had planned when you started the project?
Yes.
Explain that interesting.
Yes. Like I said, what I found was I thought very, very cost effective. $800 per year to hook up a piece of equipment and get all the data you need off of it. That was wonderful. You can go a lot farther with that. You can monitor a lot more things on that piece of equipment if you want to. Right now, we're just monitoring basically open and close. And then we're reporting the quality part of it. And the production kind of it takes care of itself. So you can do a whole lot of things with the system for what I consider to be a very small investment and then an annual fee. And they continue to make improvements on a regular basis to the software. And you tell them how you want your screens to look, what data you want on it, and they will configure it to look exactly like that. In fact, the TVs and they modified you can have multiple different versions of your screen layouts. So the ones we have in the plan are a little bit different because they go vertical. And then we separate them by rows. So it's highly configurable, which is what I wanted because I want to get the right data to the people who can make it actionable as quickly as possible.
So are you guys able to measure, earlier your slide showed a $40,000 increase in throughput, well, I'm assuming FTE.
Yes.
Are you able to measure that, and will you be able to beat the industry average?
We're working our way to industry average. We weren't there. We looked exactly like that profitability slide from 17. We've made at least a 10% improvement in that. We are currently at the industry average in 25 or 24 was about 127 to 130. Combined metal stamping and injection molding. We're at about 115 right now. So we have a ways to go, but we've rapidly over the last 18 months have significantly improved that, not only with InTouch, but all the other activities that we've done.
So you feel good it's working well?
Yes, I do. And it's not one solution's not gonna get you where you need to go. It's a whole host of solutions that we all have available to us. And a lot of it's culture change and trying to figure out how to retain people. And it's not always money to retain people. It's just actually finding enough people out there that are interested in manufacturing.
Thanks. Can you, I think you alluded to the fact that things were happening somewhat anecdotally or by spreadsheet manual inputs in terms of trying to gather the kind of data you're getting now from the system. Can you expand on that a little bit if there's more to say, like what was it like before? And I'm curious about whether you evaluated multiple systems and what were the advantages of InTouch? Or what aspects did you prioritize in making that decision?
So I was somewhat fortunate. I was starting to do some of the reviewing on my own. And fortunately, a CPA firm that I was hooked up with, we were having lunch and I said, hey, I need to start doing some machine monitoring. I need to be looking at some of these. They said, oh, we just did all the research on that. Here's who we selected. I said, well, okay, well, let's take a look at it. And it did everything that I wanted it to do, and it was very cost effective. And so from my standpoint, they did a lot of the legwork, and I did a little bit on the fringes, but they did most of the legwork. I was very satisfied with what I saw. I'm very satisfied with what we have purchased, so that's kind of how that happened. And in terms of having the information on a screen in real time, there's nothing better than that. I mean, paper records and spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff, we fill them in, and then we'll go look at them if we need some information. This information's real, live, and actionable.
Are you using any of this for incentives, or do you have any plans to use it for incentives at, team or machine or individual levels?
So that was the challenge my board gave me last quarter. Design an incentive program to help improve, use the data and improve the efficiency.
Thank you.
So yes, it's in the works.
Now that you have this data, you're well positioned for AI, how are you factoring AI into your go-forward plan for the next 3 years?
I'm going to be talking to this guy right over here. We're going to schedule a session with the senior leadership team so that everybody knows what AI really is, what can it do. It's kind of like Industry 4.0. I'm like, what the heck is Industry 4.0? Really, what is it? You know? So that's our next step with AI. Anybody else?
Yeah, Keith, I got one too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to follow on from that question, and maybe Tom, you can jump in here too. I was wondering, and I'm not a technology person, but by the way, before I do, thank you for a very straightforward presentation.
Oh.
You took something that could have been very confusing and made it very practical in how you applied it. I think everybody here, certainly myself, found it very valuable. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. So on that, like, it seems like you're setting yourself up for, and again, I barely know what I'm talking about here, autonomous decision-making, or like, is there a time when you have all this data and the machine is saying, you need to do this now, or maybe it kind of doesn't. I'm not even sure like what it is, but it seems like you're setting yourself up for all this robust data, and I'm wondering with all the tools that we are hearing about, they're all brand new, like 2 years old, right? If there's this day when decisions will be made without people, in direct labor or indirect labor, scheduling, supply chain, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know that I see a whole lot of that. I will say what this data tells us is we need to, the days of people telling me, well, it's always been that way, doesn't fly, okay? Well, we've always had flash on this part. Okay, why? Why, you know, why do we have somebody standing in front of that machine? Why is there not a quarter of a person standing there? So that's the real benefit, and it's driving to improve the performance of the tooling, which in terms helps your labor and helps you identify if you have machine problems or not. Because a lot of times it's a combination of 2 or 3 different things that need to be addressed and fixed. That's the exciting part for me. And I'm just a bean counter, so I don't know anything about how you fix some of that stuff other than I can ask the dumb questions and say, why are we doing it like that?
And to answer your question, there's some of the high-end companies, billion-dollar manufacturers and things like that are beginning to do things like that. But right now, the AI is still giving a lot of hallucinations, a lot of false positives and things like that. It's all about the guardrails that you build around and the data that you feed it, but it can extrapolate incorrect decisions out of that. So until the AI gets a little bit more advanced, people don't trust it yet to just say, okay, take over the plant and run the operation. There's a lot of people interaction right now, but we need coming around to like CAIO, like Chief AI Officer, things like that are driving those kind of things. We're going to see more and more of that in years to come. And in 5 years, I would say absolutely it's going to be doing that. But the AI technology, although it's incredible and highly advanced, it's just not quite there where people trust it just yet.
Yes.
And as you're digesting the data initially, are you getting a sense of how much upside capacity you have with current capabilities with your 3 shifts? Do you have a 20% surplus of capacity, or what is your constraint that you're understanding?
Well, let's see, on a percentage basis, I'm not exactly sure what the percentage was, but for example, between a combination of every part matters and starting to use InTouch, we save 5,000 machine hours in a quarter. Now we have a lot of injection molding machines and a lot of stamping presses, and we run probably 120, 130,000 machine hours a year. So we saved about 20,000 machine hours annually. So that's additional capacity, obviously, we can sell. Or in our case, we're pulling a lot of older equipment out of service, not replacing it yet, but we'll have the ability to slide new pieces of equipment in as revenue grows. So yeah, it was a significant amount of savings. Yes.
You mentioned the conversations on the floor on the coil switchover procedures and the setup procedures and things like that. So it's starting new conversations because you've got more data or like a common line that people can now look at on screen. What kind of conversations in the management level what have the conversations changed to now that you've got all that data? And does it give you peace of mind? Does it let you sleep better at night? Just curious from that perspective.
Well, it certainly makes you sleep better at night, but the most exciting, you know, at the leadership level, it's good to see that the people on the floor who are actually doing the work are really engaged in that process and want to make it better, particularly in that metal stamping area, because that's where there's a lot of hidden downtime. And that's where we've seen the biggest change in effect. And that's so exciting to see that the folks on the floor get excited about how do you make these things better and how do you make it better and faster.
Does it then give you a set of knobs and levers to twist and pull where you can tweak things more easily because you have more visibility into the operation?
Yes, absolutely. One of the goals for our metal stamping shop is to get down to 4 10-hour days. Right now they're running 5 10s. So continuing to analyze the downtime and fix problems that nobody has brought up for 5 or 10 years. It's like, okay, where'd that come from? You didn't tell me. You didn't tell us it was broke. We can fix it. So those are the fun things about, you know, making improvements like this. Anybody else?
Any more questions?
Great, I appreciate everybody's attention.
Nice job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. All right, another round of applause for Keith, please. Okay, Jace, can we get a group picture, please? Our standing joke here is if you're running from the law or a fugitive, just duck your head, because we're going to throw this up on social media. And then again on November 14th, we'll be back in this room and we'll have Doug speaking with us, and that's our all-member event. You're all welcome to that. We'll make sure that you get on the invite for that as well. There are some new feedback forms on your tables, and there's a section down at the bottom with, I think, about 8 blocks. If there's something that you're having trouble with in any of those 8 blocks, or you can list what it is, please put it down there. We'll collect those, we'll go through those, and we'll introduce you to somebody in the audience or one of the sponsors that could be able to help you, or one of our partners that we know. This is all about rising the tide on manufacturing, making it better for anyone. So if there's anything you need help with, please jot it down and we'll make sure that we take care of that for you. And then if you could recycle, and there's trash bins on the side, and then return your name badges to the little basket in the back. Really appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for coming out. Stay cool this weekend, 95-degree weather the next 5 days, so grab a bottle of water, and I hope you have a great weekend. Appreciate it.